Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Historical Recreations. Today I was given a challenge. How do you take modern day clay pots and make them look antique and old? Well, with only a few steps today, I'm going to demonstrate how. Join me. And materials needed to antique our clay pot. Well, of course, you're going to need a clay pot. You can get any of these clay pots at dollar stores nowadays, and you might want to include a saucer in your project. Go and get yourself a really nice sea sponge like this one. They only cost about $1 at a art store. You also want to get some styrofoam dishes or any type of paint mixing dish you would choose. Some paper towels. I'm using today a combination of 3 paint brushes. This is an old house brush for painting houses, a soft Chinese brush for watercolor, and a triple O today for making some faux finishing of cracks if you so desire on our pot. A glass of water and our lineup of colors. These are all acrylics. This is a titanium number 901 white, a sap green number 638, an olive green number 955, and a burnt umber, which is a 925. Anything else is in the tutorial. And for our first color today we're going to be using is the titanium white number 901. Now I have put a pretty generous amount out there already, and what we're going to do now is we're going to charge up our sea sponge. We're going to wash this little guy down until he becomes nice and soft. Now when you purchase these sea sponges from an art store, they're going to become, they're hard at first. And you see how the water brings it back to life again? And we're going to make a slurry today, a ratio of about 2 to 1, and we're going to charge up our sea sponge. Okay, get that up there, play with that. Okay, and we're going to take and we're going to start wiping down. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just get it on there. Just get that white on there to see. This is going to make a messy job, but it's a really great job. I really enjoy this. It's a great project. Anyone can do this. Apply that color on there. I'm going to show you afterwards about deduction. Deduction, you can take it off. These are just faux finishing techniques. Whoop. Get that on there. Once you get that pot whitened up, okay, now we're going to go back into the water. Okay, I'm going to wash that a little bit. Okay, and we want to minus some of the materials. The most important areas to minus is in the center. Here, we want to take away what we had put on there already. And that should come right off. Any other areas that have too much on there, you can always use a scrubby or some type of dish towel, and you can even take off a little bit more. So that's deduction. So let this now dry for a few moments. Now I've applied over here our sap green and our olive green, and I'll be using our watercolor brush over here, Chinese watercolor brush. Don't even worry about changing the water because it's all going to blend together. And we're going to create a slurry over here, 1 to 1, for the sap green to begin with. What we want to do now, get your little sea sponge ready because you're going to do some deduction over here. We're going to look for places that would have algae areas on here, and I'm going to apply some of the areas around the pot that I would think would have algae, like an algification. Okay, just enough. The sea sponge is working to take away information, but I'm using my watercolor brush over here to apply it. You can see it adds Don't overdo it because you have another layer going on. So the darker area is the fresher. Okay, the fresher green, apply it where you think it would go. Let it set for a moment and deduct it with the sea sponge. And once you get your first layer of green on there, just enough, we're then going to go into our olive green. So now that our sap green is dried, I'm going to go back into our watercolor brush again, creating a slurry with the olive green. Now this is a very important color because this creates the color of the algae we want to create. Now what is algae and what is the white gone here? These are forms of calcification and algae that would form up on a pot naturally when it is exposed to. Just speeding up Mother Nature here. So let's do this now. Look at how cool this is coming out. Just enough information, don't overdo it. Have one side of the pot more algae and leave the other side less. Pour down here, we have a little bit. Wow, love the way that comes down like that. What you're doing is you're staining and just let it soak in for a moment and blot it off. Wow, look at that. Look at this. Wow, it's aging already right in front of your eyes. Right in front of your eyes. Okay, so now let's go into the next layer, burnt umber. Going right back in with our watercolor brush again. I'm going to make a slurry with the burnt umber. This you need to go lightly on because this is going to create that dirt and those particles that get stuck. And you can now, let's put a little bit more water in there. It's better to put more water than less because it's just going to absorb. We're dirtying up the pot, we're aging the pot. We are adding those moments of age. Less is more. I'm going to do that right around the rim, approximately like this. Now you can do the inside of the pot if you wanted to, but we're going to put a fake plant in there because I have a photo shoot coming up. Look at that. We are aging this up nice. Now, if you're wondering what this brush is for, you can actually charge up the base of this brush. And you can add some serious dirt patterns on there if you wanted to. Again, going in my sea sponge again and doing deduction. It makes a nice stimpling pattern. Spots that you cannot make with a sea sponge, you've just made with a house brush. Beautiful. And just adds so much to the ceramic. Wow. Okay, and let's let that dry. I'm going to be using my 000 over here. I'm just dipping that in there, loading up my brush. I'm rolling the brush right now to create a very, very, very fine tip. Very fine tip. Guess what we're going to do today? We're going to make a crack. Yep. We're going to make a crack in that pot. Look at this. This detail is something that a human eye would pick up on. It's perceivable, but invisible. Look at that. A crack in the pot. That's nice, huh? You can add as many as you like, but we're going to stop with one. Anyways, I'm going to figure out the base over here, making this look as good as the pot we had done, and let's put them together. And look how beautiful that base came out. Wow. Now, just a little while ago, we had a dollar store modern day clay pot, and now look at it. Beautiful, antiqued, calcified, worn. This came out absolutely beautiful, and the faux finishing is very easy to do. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Historical Recreations, and as always, Gothically yours, Professor M.